Urban Media Today talks sports with Ray Porter Jr., Vince Butts, and Trevin A. Jones on Urban Media Today Radio.
It's game time!
It's Urban Media Today Talk Sports. Trevin A. Jones. I did it again, fellas. I said my name first. I didn't mean to. I promise. I got Keith Flatt Jr. We got Ray Porter Jr. We got Coach William Greg Hoyt Jr. And we got a couple special guests here. Me being an alpha and all, I know Coach is like, yo, Trev, I'm tired of you taking control. I'm tired of you talking about A5A and all this. So what he did was he went out and got two of his brothers to come along. That's Pastor D and Dr. Means, brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi. All due respect, is all in brotherhood. Not only that, but Coach had to just make it even more powerful. These are men of the cloud. So it's like religion, the Kappas, they take it over, and we talking sports today, and we're going to have a good time doing it.
Absolutely.
Coach, do me a favor and introduce Pastor D and Dr. Means, if you don't mind.
Well, I'll just take you guys on a journey. You know, as athletes, a lot of times we have opportunities right before a basketball game. We have prayer. Chaplain comes in. At the pro levels, they have team chaplains and things of that nature. But I want to introduce a couple guys that are real, dear to me. One being my shipmate, and that's Pastor D. They call him Pastor D, Pastor Dennis Hodges out of Chicago. And then the Kappa Alpha Psi National Chaplain, Dr. William Means. Give you guys an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself. Tell them where you're from, give a little background. We'll start with you, Dennis.
Well, again, yeah, Pastor D. My name is Dennis Hodges. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I went to Morgan Park High School on the south side of Chicago. I went to Southern Illinois University. I graduated in June of '73. Started at SIU in August of '73. Pledged Kappa Alpha Psi around that same time, and stayed down there until I didn't keep my Johnson in my pants, and I had to get a job. So my daughter was born. I had to quit school, got a job, and made a career out of my job. I worked in the Department of Corrections, Illinois Department of Corrections, Menard Correctional Center in Southern Illinois on the Mississippi River. Then I went to Marion, Illinois to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And I came to California in '79. I worked 7 different prisons here in California. I started my career September '76. And I retired September 2008. So I've been retired for 12 years. I was an associate pastor of the church for 18 years, New Creation Church, under the tutelage of Pastor Reginald Gary. And now I've been a senior pastor at the Church of Yeshua HaMashiach, Hebrew for Jesus the Messiah. The Lord pulled me out and wanted me to go into a deeper study. And I like to call it going into the ocean floor, bringing up those gems and jewels that are too heavy to float to the top. I also like to call it, we have Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's, and Carl's Jr., but you also have a Morton Steakhouse. You also have a Ruth Chris. And so studying from the Hebraic perspective, you get a richer learning, you get a richer meaning of the Word of God. I played football myself at high school. I played right guard offense and nose man defense. We were the public league champs in 1971. Played Catholic League champs in the same year, and they beat us 18-12 in Soldier Field. Mike Benford fumbled on the 1-yard line. But
and you remember that, Pastor? You remember that?
I remember. Yeah. So I started pledging Kappa Alpha Psi in August of '73, and again I failed. I pledged for 9 weeks, so I failed Earth Science. I failed Political Government, and you got to keep a certain grade point level in order to cross those sands. So, but at that time I quit school. So I went back to school in 2009, graduated in 2011, and I finished what I started those 9 weeks in 2014, and that's how Greg is in as my shipmate. But the guys that I was online with originally, they still say that I'm part of their ship too. So it's been a good journey. And then I'm teaching my son, don't never start nothing and don't finish it. You start something, you got to finish what you start. So Definitely. It's been a good journey, and the Lord has been good to me.
Awesome.
And I see them hats back there, Pastor. Wait a minute, Southern Illinois University. It makes you a Saluki. Is that right?
It's Saluki, yeah.
There you go. Okay. And I'm liking those hats in the background.
The hats, I'm a Chicago boy.
Nice hats.
What can I tell you, Doc?
That one right there.
You got to have a hat with the same color shoes you got on, right?
There you go.
Sir. Yep. It's true.
Awesome. Now, just to bring you from, now to bring in the man, also the man that I'm pretty fond of, and that's Dr. William Means, Kappa Alpha Psi National Chaplain for the Grand Chapter. Welcome, good brother.
Thank you for having me, and I want to thank you, Brother Hart, and for my good brother, Brother Mont. I want to make sure that I know that you know I love you, brother, and I thank you for having me. Hello, Brother Jones, and all you other good brothers. I am the Grand Chapter National Chaplain of Kappa Alpha Psi, but I hail originally from Harlem, New York City. And I was reared in Harlem, educated at Morehouse School of Religion, educated at, in Dayton, Ohio, at United Theological Seminary. And we're glad to be able to say that we are doing some great work here in East St. Louis as pastor and president of the New Freedom Bible College. I happen to have a little football and baseball experience in my past as well. I was a tight end on that field, and I was also an outstanding catcher on the baseball diamond. I have a cousin named Natron Means. Some of you may not have heard of him.
Yeah.
But he's a little big head boy. He can run that field pretty well as well down in North Carolina.
Number 40. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We're just grateful and so thankful to be able to survive all of that and then be led to closely walk with the Lord and be able to say, we know a little something about a lot of things, but we know a whole lot about God. And we're grateful and thankful just to be here and for the invitation.
Yeah.
Definitely. Good stuff. See,
Wonderful.
Coach, you did good, Coach. You did good. Because, I'm feeling it already. It's a positive note. We have men that have the background that can speak on people believing, pump themselves up even before games, before you even get into your day. When you look at life, before you get into life, these brothers right here can be great coaches because sometimes you can make the comparison when you look at sports. The beginning of every game. When you look at life, the beginning of every day. That's life and sports kind of mirror each other. So what we're going to do today is, with that power and that background, what I'd like to do is, like I said, we're going to call it audible. I'm going to ask you three gentlemen with Ray Porter Jr. He said I can call him Rev. I'm going to call him Rev. Ray
It's
Porter
up to
Jr.
you, man.
Also on the show. Let's talk about how people get motivated, even for games, when people are looking at, and gentlemen, when you're athletes, and I'm glad that you are, how big was that for you, and what did you do to prepare for a game, and what part of I don't want to say faith, I want to say religion, what part of faith played into your preparing for your games and even life on a daily basis? And I'll start with you first, Pastor.
Well,
okay.
Which one?
I meant Pastor D. I apologize. I got three on here. Pastor D, I'll start with you.
It was blood, sweat, and tears. In Chicago, as you know, it's very humid there. So we started practicing early in August. We started practicing, and practicing from the time school was out till nightfall sometime. And it was a hard drive. Now, I've always had foundation in my walk, but the difference is I knew about God, but I didn't have an intimate personal relationship with God. So I had to really, who was I depending on? I was depending on me when I should have been depending on him. But now that I'm mature and I've grown more into him, I depend more on him. So I'm able to tell the younger generation, don't depend on you, depend on him, and then he'll take you through the talent that he's blessed you with.
Wow. Dr. Means, you go ahead next.
Well, brothers, when I came to play, I was already ready. I just need to have a little time with the Lord and talk, make certain that whatever I did, I do it to the best of my ability. I played hard, I played well, and I played to win. And I also made certain that in those times when it looked like we weren't going to win, but I would call on the Lord and ask him to help me through this thing. I walked with the Lord as a young man. When I played football, I was down in Tampa, Florida. And, you know, Florida football is rough. You know, if you played football in the state of Florida, you really knew how to play some football.
I know
We
that's
hit hard, and we didn't take nothing. And so I was out there to make certain that we got to the win. Same thing about baseball. We had some outstanding baseball players around us. You know, the farm team for the New York Yankees is also in Florida. And man, we would go out there and watch those guys. But when I got on that baseball diamond, I made it clear to myself I had to have a little talk with the Lord. After we had that huddle, after we had a little talk to find out what the plans, me and God had to work this thing out. And I've been depending upon the Lord ever since. And he's been a lead and a guide and a strength and an assurance to make certain that whatever I touch, it will prosper.
That's what's up. Ray, I'm going to pose the same question to you, then I'm going to turn it over to Coach. Go ahead, Ray.
Sure. Yes, and I appreciate the information that's shared. It's powerful stuff. For me, I think about when I ran track 29 years ago in high school, Peabody High School in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that was really my most critical time of being on a team and just being able to endure the practices, because we practice in the wintertime all the way leading up to outdoor track. And for me, I just had to make sure I endured that. And I was fortunate that I began to really take my Christian walk seriously at age 16, 17. So when I would prepare for these races and even prepare for just the entire concept of track, the Lord would lay a scripture on me from 1 Corinthians 9:24 that speaks about, do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize, only one receives the prize. Run in such a way that you may obtain it. And I remember another version where it says, run in order to get the prize. And that inspired me and encouraged me that every time I got out there, my objective was to win. Whether I did or did not, but I was to get out there and do my part, to compete and get the prize. So I did win some races, I didn't win some, but we won the championship that year, so that really made a difference. But that encouraged me, because there were times in which I wanted to quit. There was times once I wanted to let go. My dad told me, just remember, if they talk about you, they talk about Jesus too. And that set the tone for me. So I stood on that. And also Proverbs 16:3, commit to the Lord, whatever you do, your plans will succeed. So that really just set the tone for me for track and then also for life.
And Keith, I know you and we're not men of the cloth, but we still both have faith, man. So
Absolutely.
I know I would pray before every game. Keith, was there any type of ritual you had before you would play?
Basically, man, we would just watch movies and listen to a little Tupac, Jay-Z, and we would say a prayer before the game.
That's what's up. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Coach. Coach, we're going to wrap up the first quarter. It went that fast. So we're already at 12 minutes, 15 minutes per quarter. We'll wrap up the first quarter and come back with the second quarter. But I know you brought these gentlemen on here for a reason. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to also just talk about, just take listeners along a journey. I know, Dr. Means, you have an incredible history with HBCUs, okay, with your family. I know your wife, she's the HBCU alum. And so we want to talk a little bit about that, the rest of the show, about talking to our undergrad students, whether they're alphas or whether they're kappas or whether they're sigmas or whether they're omegas. It's a very, very mentally tough time for students all over HBCUs, all over the country. Schools, in-person school classes are being canceled. The SWAC just canceled their season. They pushed their season out. The MEAC. So you have all these student athletes, particularly the male student athletes, that are in a kind of in a pause situation. And what kind of mental help would you give them, being men of the cloth, pastors, counselors, leaders, and especially Black men of achievement? When we come back in next quarter, I want to talk a little bit more about that.
Good stuff. That's how we're going to end it. The first quarter's over. That's the first 15 minutes. We're going to have everybody answer that question. We're coming back. It's Urban Media Today Talk Sports on urbanmediatoday.com. We're going to be right back after this brief timeout.
Urban Media Today is your source for entertainment, news, sports, and lifestyle. It's your online resource for health and fitness, providing tips to decrease your heart disease or increase your good spirits. When you can't find who made the top picks in HBCU sports or what part of the country is most exciting or affordable to travel with the entire family, Urban Media Today is there to provide you with all that you need and just a click away. Log on to urbanmediatoday.com now. Find us on social media. Urban Media Today, your lifestyle information and blog website.